Holy, it's been a while. 3 days, 4 days now. You guys know I got hacked and thought I lost my YouTube channel for good. But that's another video. This one, while I was gone, I missed out on a little bit of stuff happening with UMG. I have a few things that I want to talk about, but right now I want to start with like where I fall into this, right? So I did not come into YouTube as a reactor. I came into YouTube as a like gaming channel / review channel, just kind of messing around with YouTube, to be honest. You guys know the whole story. My friend started streaming Fortnite in 2019. I helped him out with his, and I got kind of into it and loved doing the OBS stuff and all the technical aspects. And I ended up streaming, went to Mixer, did pretty well on Mixer, then switched to Twitch, and it all fell apart. And then I ended up just trying out reactions, and here we are, right? But very early on, I felt the the sting of kind of the corporate copyright world that is that is going on with music. Now, you guys know I've been in the industry, like I've worked in the industry for several years, so I kind of know how the mainstream companies work. But we're gonna get to that in a second. You guys know everything that's going on with Cliff Beats and them setting up this petition with Vibe Reactions and all this stuff happening with trying to fight everything that's going on right now. But I want to take a step back as to really what's happening, how I see it. We have there's a lot of collaboration that happens out behind the scenes that you guys don't get to see, right? I created a group. Well, we all created a group with a bunch of us that are reactors, and we talk about random stuff, push ideas off of each other, right? Jesse and I do it kind of separately on our own too, but I just created a group with like Tochi Reacts, the Black Speed, I think Disco Dog, Jesse, am I forgetting somebody? Johnny Foxtrot, like a bunch of us. And we've kind of been talking about everything. The wild thing, right, is I lived this in terms of like being in the industry as a musician, as a performing musician, and then trying to do studio stuff. I saw the inner workings of the industry. What's going on with UMG right now is much more than just the copyright issues, which is what we're going to get into. It's so much so that like UMG is the most successful financially out of any of the record labels, right? Part of that is because of what they're doing. This is not about protecting the artist. And I know that that's how a lot of these companies face it, right? We're protecting the artist from copyright. The artists don't get much either way. Whether I go and I do a reaction to this artist and make money off of it, or I don't, they're pretty much going to make the same amount of money. But comes in here as a positive for both the artists and us is we get notoriety for bands, who like Sleep Token. They come to my channel and they discover me. But also, some people who did not know who Sleep Token was came into my channel, saw Sleep Token through that, and now they are Sleep Token fans. So it's a win-win for both sides, right? But what UMG is doing is they're trying to control the market. They're trying to become a monopoly in the record company game, right? They're already the most powerful. They're already the most financially stable. They're already the most kind of the more prominent artists. So they're already on their way. Now, I think a lot of you are saying like, there might be some of you who are in the camp of like, well, they're being cutthroat because they need to be, and that's a business, and that's totally fine. That's totally fine if you guys believe that. For me though, like I'm a very big firm believer. There's a reason why monopolies are illegal. It raises the market up way further than it needs to be, right? It's a whole, y'all took economics class, right? The supply and demand is like economics 101, right? If there's no other suppliers, then the demand is going to go up, and that one supplier is going to make all of the profit, not only because they're getting every single customer base, but also because they're able to raise their prices because that's the only place you can get it from, right? That's what this whole mentality is they want to control the market. So that means anybody who tries to make money or get notoriety off of their artist, they're going to nix you. It's not just demonetizing, they're copywriting people, putting copyright strikes, and essentially threatening them, saying like, if you don't remove it, we're going to do something about it. They're going to, have YouTube shut down their channel, all those things. So that's one thing, is their attempt. This whole thing is spawning from them wanting to be basically the owner of all of these music companies, which they're trying to buy out a few of them right now. But I want to talk about how that affects YouTubers and all of that stuff, right? So when I got into reacting, I had already been watching reactors. Like I was already watching like Chris Lipe and a bunch of others. I think I had seen Nox before. Like No Life Shack was one of the bigger ones that I reacted to, that I had watched and loved watching reactions. But I also followed a bunch of reaction channels for a lot of the movies and TV shows that I like. I watched a lot of those. So I was already a consumer of reaction content. So it felt like it was kind of a no-brainer to go into the reaction type of content, right? But you know, when I went into it, there was already a lot of people who thought about reaction content as being sort of a lazy way to make content, right? And if you look at a lot of the main, like bigger streamers out there, and I don't know how many of you followed like Twitch streamers and stuff, but like XQC got paid just what, 2 or 3 years ago, got a $10 million contract from Kick or whatever it was. Most of his content now is him sitting there eating or something like that and having something else playing. I believe one of his streams for 6 hours, he was watching like reruns of Hell's Kitchen, right? So like stuff like that. So that's one of the more popular streamers. That's one of the more popular people that are out there for reaction content. People see that and they say $10 million to just sit there and play somebody else's content. But you guys know this, and I'm not going to toot my own horn here, but like the Black Speed, Jesse, Nox, that singer Reacts, right? Like all of these people, we don't watch them just to watch them watch the original content. We watch them to get their opinion on things, their expert opinion, because we're interested in what they have to say, right? Like that's why we watch them, and they add something to the original content. It's not just sitting there saying expletives, making faces, and being energetic. It's about the intellectual conversation that comes about from the music. That's why we watch it. And I don't know if you guys watch that for me or watch my stuff for that. I'm not going to toot my own horn here, but that's why reaction content, for the most part, is watched, right? But I think there's already a misconception with reaction content. A lot of the UMG owners are very, very old school owners, right? And it's also not an American-owned company, the European-owned company. So there's a little bit of that as well. And there's a lot of there's a different view of the type of media that we consume out here in the States, right? So I'll say that too. So there's a little bit of that misconception. There's a little bit of the old school. There's a little bit of all of that that's tying into this, right? But really, it all boils down to greed. It all boils down to them wanting to have full-on control over the content. They want to be the one that disperses content to people. They want to be the one that's reaping every single ounce, every single penny. I guess pennies don't exist anymore. Every single dime and nickel out of their artists, because as Ren said, it's a commodity. They are commodities. The artists are not people. They are commodities, right? They are ways to make money. And look, like what's amazing about these reaction channels, and I have a different perspective now being on the other side of it, not the like, as the consumer of reaction content, like you get a different perspective on music or TV shows or movies, whatever you're watching. But as the person who's creating that content, I have a whole new way that I look at music, right? Now, when I listen passively on my own, I'm not sitting here with my thinking cap on, like listening word for word and doing, you know, a beat breakdown or a rhythm breakdown or stuff like that. But when I sit down to do reaction stuff, I'm listening to songs that I've heard countless times and hearing them in a really different way. So that's one aspect of this that's really cool. But for the artist, like y'all have come in and you want to hear what I have to say about Ren's new song. That's amazing. Y'all want to hear about what I say about Sleep Token. You all want to hear about what I say about Falling in Reverse. Like all of these artists, y'all want to hear what I have to say about it, right? And it also, I've seen those videos, not on just mine, but like everybody's videos that I've mentioned, where y'all are in the comment section saying, I never thought about that, or I missed this. So it's a great way to kind of reappreciate and also appreciate in a different way stuff that you've heard before, right? You learn to appreciate and are thankful that you've heard this content or seen this TV show or movie, right? That's one of the great things about reaction content. But at the end of the day, imagine this, okay? Freeze the Fall is big on my channel. It's big on some of these other channels that I mentioned, specifically Jesse's. A lot of the people who are now a lot of the people who are now Freeze the Fall fans weren't originally until they saw it on our channels. I've had 12 or 15 people maybe throughout the last 3 videos who have said, I've never heard this band's awesome, and now they're regular fans, right? So that is the power of what reaction content can do. And what's cool about that, what's cool about them and their music company and what they're doing is they're working with us. They understand this is a great way to get notoriety. This is a great way to get fan bases. And that then turns into record sales and merch sales and all of this stuff. And most importantly, right, is the notoriety stuff, right? I'm going to get into a little bit of how you make money on YouTube because I really do think there's a misconception. Like, I know people who have like 1 million views on their channel or 1 million views on a single video, but because that single video is not monetized, you don't make a penny, right? So we're going to talk about that a little bit because I think there's a little bit of a misunderstanding of how money works on YouTube. I'm not in this to make money at all. I know I've done a lot of these paid reaction streams, but really I was doing that because I had no money coming in and it was essentially desperate times, but I'm not in this to make money. I am in this because it's a fun thing to do. Like I said, I didn't even come into this originally wanting to do reaction content. I came into this wanting to do gaming content and just like dump my brain. I wanted to be able to take my brain out of my head, be the zombie that plays video games and has fun playing video games and y'all could hang out, right? It turned into this whole new existential, emotional, mentally draining, but good mentally draining thing with Ren and Chinchilla and all these things that happen, that it ended up bettering my life and it ended up leading to all these different things, right? But at the end of the day, like Ren has taken this too. It's a win-win situation. Like I said, we give the band's notoriety, which gives them more views, which then probably will end up making them get more record sales and all that stuff. So it's a win-win. The fact that UMG specifically is either refusing to believe it, ignoring it, or just plain too stupid to understand that it's just ridiculous. And now we're talking about ruining people's livelihood, right? And I don't want to get too deep into the politics of how all of this works. But really, in any trade, in any business, in any type of business, it's always the top, right? It's always the top brass, right? If we're talking about like cell carriers, right? It's always like Verizon, and basically Verizon is really the only big one, but right, T-Mobile, those two that are trying to buy out the rest of them until there's nothing left, right? And what happens is, now, this is not what's happening with UMG, but I'm trying to explain to you the greed that happens here and how they want to control everything. T-Mobile, Sprint, whatever. I don't know what the top 2 is, but I know Verizon and whatever the other one is, Sprint, I think. They fund each other. Do you know why they do that? Because they can control the rest of the market. So now they know they're the 2 top ones. They're going to be the ones that are going to be the only one providing any type of service, right? That's what UMG is trying to do. But I keep digressing to that because I think it's an important point. They're refusing to believe the positives of working with us because it's a control thing. And it's like, well, yeah, we could let them do that. They can make some of the money. And even if we share the revenue, we're only getting half of it. They have this ignorant, this privileged take that they can do what we do in terms of marketing, right? But let's be real here. One of the artists that I have reacted to, and it was the last UMG artist I reacted to, was Pentatonics. And the reason that I never reacted to anything that was UMG again was because I had it blocked, right? I had it covered on my stream. I was doing the reaction to one of their stuff, and my stream, within like maybe a minute, maybe 2 minutes, they cut my stream. YouTube cut my stream. So. And I don't want to put the blame here on YouTube because some of it is their fault because they're allowing it to happen, right? But at the end of the day, a lot of these music companies put in money to YouTube, right? They use YouTube for marketing, so therefore YouTube's getting a lot of their money, a lot of their support from these production companies. At the end of the day, what it really is alleviating free speech and alleviating freedom of thought and alleviating kind of this groupthink that we have with the reactors and the reactor communities. And they want to be in full control of what happens with their artists. It's not about keeping the artists safe. It's not about protecting the artists. It's about making money and them being in control of how the money is made and making sure they get every penny in spite of allowing the artists to grow faster. So think about that for a second. It's not to protect the artists because if they actually did utilize reactors and other forms of marketing, the artist would be growing faster, which in turn would make more money. But they're so stubborn about wanting to be in control that they're willing to stifle the artists so that they make every penny. So I want you all to think about that, and this is not me talking out of my ass. I've been in the industry. I know how it works. From a fundamental standpoint, I know how it works, okay? Now, for those of you who say, well, you make money off of it too, so it's not fully true. I want to let you guys know something, okay? I'm going to log into my YouTube account right now, and you can see, and I'm kind of like outing myself a little bit here because it really is an important thing to understand. YouTubers don't make a lot on YouTube. Now, there's the 1%ers that do because they have a huge following, and most of them are like, I think the top 8 out of the top 10 YouTubers in terms of like financial are like kids YouTubes, because they 100% have massive amounts of views, right? Okay, so I brought it up. In the last 28 days, you can see here, in the last 28 days, I have basically 20,000 views, right? Which isn't a lot compared to a bunch of others, right? 28 days, 20,000 views. So I don't know what you guys think we would make off of that, okay? But I'm gonna show you right now what I've earned just from watch page ads, which means the ads that run before and after. $7. Let's say $8. So I'll round up there. $8 for 23,000 views in the last 28 days. So in the last month, I've made $7. I want you guys to understand what that means. I'm not making money off of this, right? It's not even a tank of gas. So, and again, it's not about, I'm not here to make money. None of us really are here to make, some of us are in this. It's kind of their job. But for me, right, I'm not here to make money on this. So it's not about the money thing. It's what it is the principle. I just don't understand censoring the little man when honestly, like I said, we're not making any money off of it anyways, right? We're doing it for the love of it. We're doing it for the love of the game. What's the saying? Don't hate the player, hate the game, right? And now I don't want them to completely get rid of reaction videos altogether, but what I'm trying to say is like, we do it for the love of music. We do it for the love of what we do. We do it for the love of you guys and getting to know you guys in the communities that we've built, all of this stuff. That is why we do it. And I just think that there comes a point where we have to speak up. There's a lot of stuff going on right now in the world that I think we need to speak up about. But sticking to this, I think we as a reactor community and all of the communities we built together, we can do something about it. We can be vocal about it and allow people to have their word heard so that UMG understands like, nah, we're not for this. And if you're going to do this, then we're not going to react to your stuff. We're not going to listen to your artists. We're not going to even think about your artists if you're going to do this, right? And that's what it boils down to, is you're annoying the shit out of everybody. You're angering people to the point where they don't want to listen to your artists anymore. They just don't. I mean, that's kind of all I had to say on this. I don't know exactly what's happening with like Cliff Beats and stuff. I haven't watched his video yet. I need to watch it. But I know that there's a bunch of people's channels that I know that I'm sort of friends with and close to that are basically their livelihood, they're at stake because of this. And I just think it's ridiculous. So I'm going to leave a link down below to all of the people that I'm cool with and that I've collabed with on this. There is a petition you can sign. I'm putting it in the description below. And just share it with as many people as you can. Get as many people as you can to sign it and all of that. And look, I think that our communities are vast and they have so much reach that we actually can do something and make a difference. And at the end of the day, like, at the very least, if we annoy the shit out of UMG, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with it. So anyways, I'm glad to be back. More videos to come. I appreciate y'all. And please do remember that good vibes are contagious.